Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. Even though I thought I would be making another Remnant video, something interesting has just been brought to my attention. This is a little bit of a winding path here. I saw a tweet from Remnant about a quote that Travis Northrop gave on the Last Word podcast about a month ago, which I never heard of this until right now. Love Travis. He works for IGN. I did Fireteam chat with him. Love The Last Word. Have been on that many times. I love all my Destiny podcasts equally. Fireteam chats, DCP, Last Word. But Last Word is very great. But yeah, this was an interesting episode. Rick Kakis was on, and I could not find where this quote came from. But Travis said he was part of a roundtable with Bungie developers. I'm not sure if this was the one with the narrative team, because I know there was a roundtable with the narrative team going around a while ago. But he talked to someone at Bungie, and he's not under NDA anymore because the embargo lifted, but IGN didn't run the story because IGN doesn't love Destiny anymore as much as they used to. The quote is about the seasonal model and how it pertains to Crucible and Gambit. And you can read as much into this as you want. Travis showed up in the thread I posted about this and is like, it's the quote isn't a lot, but it's how you read into it and like when, how they dodged the question a little bit and what they said about when more information would be coming. So Travis's question was, he wrote this in a transcript, and I found this is actually from a Destiny Bulletin article. As you can see the winding path here, I was trying to find it, and then Destiny Bulletin just messaged me, and he just published this article today, so I don't know how this got found out of nowhere here, but here we are. Travis says, some parts of the game rarely get any love these days, namely Gambit and Crucible. Since you've announced your plan on switching up the way seasons work, is the team considering PvP-focused seasonal activities as a way to spice things up? How about Gambit? In response, Bungie stated, we don't have anything to announce today, but we're going to have a whole lot more information on the seasonal model as it relates to Gambit and PvP-focused content at the Destiny 2 showcase in August. I'll link the full episode of this in the comments. It's about 42 minutes, and I took a little while for me to confirm this was a real quote because it was very hard to find. Someone posted it in a Reddit thread like weeks ago, and they put a timestamp in that was wrong. Anyway, Travis confirmed it. It's a real quote. It's interesting because this is the first real confirmation that we will get significant info about PvP and Gambit at the showcase. Obviously, the showcase is primarily focused on the final shape, but one of the big questions has been, what's going on with the seasonal model after the final shape? I guess both in terms of storyline, because we are starting a new Destiny 2 arc, but like obviously the seasonal model wasn't just going to shut down after Lightfall, but it has to sort of be either an epilogue to Lightfall or a transition into whatever's happening next. But apparently there is going to be PvP and Gambit related stuff here. And Travis says, is the team considering PvP-focused seasonal activities? I don't necessarily know if Bungie's response to this, the seasonal model as it relates to Gambit and PvP-focused content, means that, like, okay, the seasonal event is going to be you got to play this Crucible mode, over and over again, or some Gambit is the featured activity again, like it was in Season of the Drifter. That's not how I read that. I read it as maybe after years of complaining, essentially, that these modes were barely getting any attention. We had no new maps in Crucible forever. We upgraded to one a year and some unvaulted maps and a reprised Destiny 1 map or something. That's like the max. Gambit lost 2 maps, never got them back, never got new maps. That's it. The way I read this is, I think they're going to have taken this feedback and finally implement something. There's a lot of jokes, and I posted this about like, Bungie will just make, seasonal challenges or seasonal milestones have to do with Crucible and Gambit more and whatever. I don't think they would have said this if it wasn't something at least somewhat significant. And yeah, I know, fool me once, fool me twice with Bungie, but this is what I wonder about the potential for this, because if we're in this transition period between the final shape and whatever happens with the new Destiny arc, it feels like you would need a real expansion to kind of kick off whatever is going to be the next Destiny arc. So you will have this period of time that seems like at least it could be kind of a lull or kind of a removed portion of the Destiny 2 saga, like the overall, 10-year plan here, between these different arcs. And that seems to me like that would be a time to start investing more in this part of the game that has been neglected for so long. We have all these PvE activities right now. They are gated behind the season pass, where one of the primary issues is that PvP and Gambit is not gated behind the season pass. I don't believe they would ever fully eliminate, PvE activities for a season. What I think they might do is shrink them. I think they've expanded to the point where like almost past where they need to be. Like this season had salvage and deep dives, and like you could have cut salvage. Salvage just didn't really need to exist at all alongside deep dives, and there have been a few other examples of this where there's some PvE content that I don't know if they were, if it was ultimately necessary. And like I understand you can't just like move the PvE team to PvP stuff, and like it's separate disciplines, but in terms of money and time and what you're devoting to that, you can. So what I am hoping from this is far and away, both of these modes need maps. And the maps, given that the core playlists are free to play, they would have to be free. We're not doing map packs for Gambit or Crucible. That's just never going to happen. But it feels like in this transition period, when maybe you don't have to go as hard on the story and don't have to do the 8-week lore drop seasonal model and the vendors and the all of that stuff, maybe you can do more PvP and Gambit focused seasons. Sure, keep something in there for PvE people, but this could be like the right time to invest in these two allegedly core ritual activities that get no love. I think obviously Crucible and PvP is a higher priority than Gambit. Crucible still has hundreds of thousands of people playing at any given time, something a lot of multiplayer games would kill for, which is frankly shocking given how little investment has been made in PvP in like 4 years at least. I think Forsaken is the last expansion that had like any truly meaningful map additions. Maybe Shadowkeep had I think Shadowkeep only had one. But the point is, it's like it's been a really long time. So what if you do a season where you have two new PvP maps a season and one Gambit map, and you end with 6 more PvP maps and 3 more Gambit maps, or 2 more, whatever, by the time the new expansion rolls around to start the new saga. Again, this is a lot of wishful thinking, but this quote, the seasonal model as it relates to Gambit and PvP, unless they're killing Gambit and PvP, which I guess is one way you could read this, it feels to me like they're finally going to buckle down and add something significant that is not just like, here's a new mode, or like, here's a new ritual weapon for Gambit, like something more compelling than that. And again, this is a totally overlooked quote. I have no idea why it's surfacing now, but that is pretty significant to me. Like, I don't think this is making something out of nothing. And I really am looking forward to the showcase, not just because of the final shape, but I'm really curious to see what they have planned for the ensuing year. Like, the season that follows that showcase is probably just going to be set already. Like, we're 2 weeks away from it. That is done. I don't think there's going to be anything too crazy announced for that season. And, the season after, we'll see. We'll see when the stuff gets implemented. But my take here is that this is probably stuff that is going to, at the earliest, start 2 seasons from now, but will probably start after the final shape. Because I think Bungie is going hard on the story front. They got all the story stuff to get through. We got Savathun stuff next season. Then we got to do some sort of setup for the final shape in the season before that. So I don't know what room there would necessarily be for PvP and Gambit during those, the final seasons of the entire huge Destiny 2 arc or whatever. Year after, if it's a transition period, that's where I can see this kind of stuff happening. So anyway, thanks for watching. Go watch the Last Word podcast. It's great. I love all the guys there. It's always a good time when I'm on there, and you should subscribe to them and watch. I think they just hit, I don't know, they've had a lot of episodes, and Abantis just hit 100K on YouTube, so that's great. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.